Hello, I'm Helen Bradley. Welcome to this video tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can create rivets quickly and easily in Photoshop. Before we get started making the rivets, let's have a look and see what it is that we're creating. And this is the type of rivet that we're going to create. This one's a copper rivet, but we can make them in any color that we like. To start off, I'm going to choose File and then New, and I'm going to create a new image. This one's going to be 500 by 500 pixels because I like my rivets to be able to be shrunk down so that they can look realistic in place. So I'm just going to click OK. And the first thing I'm going to do is to fill this layer here with a gradient. Now in Photoshop CS6 there are some new photo gradients that you can use, and I really like these for rivets. But in earlier versions of Photoshop you can go and do the same thing, and you can create your own look in gradients. So you don't have to have these gradients available, but you will find that they're kind of handy for creating rivets as well as, of course, coloring photos. So I'm just going to click OK, and I'm going to apply this as a linear gradient. So I'm going to make sure I have linear gradient selected here, and I'm going to drag it across the image here. I'm holding Shift to constrain it to a straight line. Now, not totally convinced about this particular gradient, so let's go and get something. I know this copper one is going to work, so I just want something that is a little less harsh. This one's got a distinct dark area, and I want something that transforms from light to dark a little bit more smoothly. So this is a pretty good gradient. Now, if this is a bit dark, you can add a new layer to your image. So I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm going to fill it with the foreground color by pressing Alt and Backspace. Because my foreground color is white, that's Option Delete on the Mac. I'm going to set this to screen blend mode and just adjust the opacity down so that I can use most of the color underneath, but I could make it lighter if I wanted to. And then I'll just merge those layers with Control and E to merge the layers. But if your gradient isn't too dark, then you don't need to do that step. I'm then going to choose the elliptical marquee tool, and I'm going to drag a circle onto my gradient, and if I hold the Shift key with it, that will be a pure circle. And if I use the space bar, I can move the circle right into the center of the image. So I've still got the Shift key selected. I'm going to let go the left mouse button and then let go the Shift key. So I've got a circle here. Now I'm going to invert that with Select Inverse. So I have selected everything but the circle, and I'll press Delete. So this is the first part here of my rivet, and it's actually this outside part here. I'm going to duplicate this layer by dragging and dropping it on the new layer icon. Now I got a bit enthusiastic there and ended up with more layers than I needed. So I now have two identical layers. I'm going to deselect the current selection by pressing Control D, or I could choose Select Deselect. Now this is going to be in my inner shape, so I'm going to Control click on it, choose the Move tool, and then I want to size it in smaller. Now the way I do that is to hold both the Shift and the Alt keys as I do this. The Shift key constrains my movement to a full circle, so I'm always going to have a circle here, and the Alt key sizes it from the middle so that it's not being repositioned. This second circle is going to be right in the middle of the first circle. So when I get it in place, let go the left mouse button, and then and only then let go the Alt and the Shift keys. I'm going to click the check mark here. Now I want to transform this, and I want to transform it through 180 degrees. So I'll press Control and T to get my transform details up here, and I'll type 180. And that's flipped it round. In fact, I think it could be rotated a little bit more attractively, probably to about here. Now at this point you're going to get a relatively flat looking rivet, and I actually prefer to, at this stage, actually go and reapply the gradient. So I'm going to select my gradient again. With this layer I'm going to lock the pixels on it so that I can drag my gradient in, and it's only going to affect the area marked out by the circle. I'm also going to select a radial gradient because what I want to do is for this part of the gradient here to be light and the outer edge to be dark. And I'm just going to find a good position for it. And I think this is a pretty good gradient, so you can just continue to drag until you get it into the right place. Let's just unlock that now. We're ready now to add a bevel and emboss, so I'm going to click the bottom layer here, choose the add layer style icon, and I'll choose bevel and emboss. Now in contour I want one of these contours, this one, or this one. They're all going to work pretty well, and I'm going to just adjust the range so that I push it to the very edge of the shape. Let's go back into bevel and emboss, and now I'm going to reduce the depth quite a bit, reduce the size, just get it to what I want it to look like. Now we have a problem with light right now at the moment from Photoshop's point of view, and for this bevel and emboss effect, Photoshop has the light coming from this direction, but you can see that the light is actually coming from this direction on the rivet itself, so we need to adjust the light here to match our rivet. So I'm going to bring in a global light here that is hitting from this direction, and then I'm going to adjust my screen and my multiply so that I get the effect that I want. I don't want a really harsh set of settings here. I just want the very smallest amount. And then I'm going to add a drop shadow, so I'll click drop shadow, select the drop shadow itself. Now I think that these are badly named in Photoshop. Size in actual fact is more like a feather, so size will give you a softer or a harsher shadow, and the actual physical size of the shadow is really controlled by the spread and the distance. So I'm going to bring my distance and my spread in quite small and adjust the size of it, which gives me that sort of feathering effect, and click OK. And let's just zoom out here, and there we have our rivet, and this one's a copper rivet, but you'll find that there's plenty of things to choose from in this set of photo gradients, and you can create your own gradients to create your own look for your rivets. I'm Helen Bradley. Thank you for joining me for this video tutorial. Look out for more video tutorials on this YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel, click like if you like this video, and visit my website at projectwoman.com for more tips, tricks and tutorials on Illustrator, Photoshop, Lightroom and a whole lot more.